All right, we're going to try this here. We're just going to have a conversation.
Good.
So, tell us who you are.
Tim Carpenter from Lake Village. Not originally, but certainly have enjoyed it the last 3 or 4 years we've been here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk to you about your book. It was really important to me. More poetry, less chaos.
Yes.
It was really important to me and to Andy and I to offer something that's local. You are here, and you wrote this book. Tell us, tell us what this is about.
Good. Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me here. I love this place. Good place to have great conversations. So we'll have a good conversation. My wife and I have many conversations about many things. Always have some type of opinion. So at one point, I decided that I'd put those opinions down and create an argument for more poetry and less chaos. Over the years, our conversation is, why are people like this? Why is the world like this? Why is there so much chaos? So I try to answer that question by providing an argument to the contrary on what can we do to make life more poetic and less chaos. So it's an argument for more poetry, or I guess many people would believe that poetry is rhyme and cute phrases, but my interpretation of poetry is maybe analogous to a good golf swing. People often would say, "Oh, that's poetry in motion." So why does that swing look so good and feel so good? Well, there's mechanics behind that. There's kinetics behind that. There's practice. There's work. There's an intent to make that swing as perfect as it can be. And so the question is, where does that start? And that's the essence of the book is, where does poetry start? How do we create more poetry? And how do we eliminate chaos?
Yeah, yeah. So when I was reading it, I was trying to understand more about what you meant by poetry, and you started out with that, thinking about rhymes. That's what a lot of us think about poetry. I have not read
Right.
much poetry, but
Yes.
I was reading. Hold on. Love. One of the things I read, love is poetry, and then in one of the places you write more poetry, of which you mean synchronization of efforts.
Yes.
Talk about that. What is synchronization of effort?
I think that's certainly a creative expression. So when I look at the world, I first see God as the great maestro, and everything is in front of him, and things, for the most part, work extremely well because there's a conductor out there. In an orchestra, there's a lot of synchronization, and as a result, there's a good sound. And so we go back to the golf swing. There's some synchronization there. And life has some synchronization, some beauty and some goodness if there's the mechanics behind it. And I use choices to illustrate that. So for some reason, uh, some choices result in chaos, and some choices result in poetry. So you have more synchronization. You have days that, wow, that was a great day. Everything seemed to flow so nicely. I feel good today. I slept good today. And there are other days where you cannot get anything right. There's chaos. So my thoughts were, how do I get more of the better days? And then that led me to the research on how do I get better days, better poetry, more joy, create more goodness, be more goodness. And I felt like there was a formula to that, and I investigated that formula.
So, is poetry, is it a synonym for goodness or love in this sense?
I think that's a good way to interpret it. A sunset is poetry. It just looks and feels good. There's some order to it. There's some mystery to it. There's some joy to it. And you think, wow, how does that happen every day in such a beautiful way? And so, yeah, I'd say that's a synonym, but I think it probably is a little deeper than the simplicity of a synonym. A synonym. It's a. I think when you experience it, when you know it, it's like hitting a home run. It just feels good.
This makes sense. So we were talking for a while before, and your sports analogies make a lot more sense to me now that I know that your background as a coach. I like that. I like that. When I was reading through this, one of the things that jumped out for me, I was so engaged with this story, was the story of Kelly and Mike.
Yes.
And I could see, and now it makes so much more sense to me, having talked to you for an hour now, about the process of learning.
Yes.
And your interest in learning and discovery.
Yes.
And how the story started with asking question on an airplane, looking for colleges, and how the story ended. Can you share that story?
Certainly. So being a divorced father and being away from the kids as much as I was, I knew that I had some precious time with her, and I wanted to pass on whatever advice a father could pass on. And her being a youngster, she's looking for advice and direction. So I said to myself, how can I boil this gumbo down as quickly as possible, because I haven't got a lot of time with this child. So asking her what it is she wants gave me the insight to start a dialogue with her. Well, Dad, I see myself as Kelly Vasquez, RN. Well, Mike Vasquez was her boyfriend, and she was a junior in high school. I didn't see that. She saw something I didn't, but I did know she had a profession in mind. So she didn't understand the formula on how to get there. So as we talked, and I said, honey, it's pretty simple. You continue to study, you get good ACT scores, you get invited or you apply to a college that does nursing, you go to class every day, you study, and the mechanics of that will take you to where you want to go. You do more of what you need to do and less that takes you away from your goal. So eventually you'll be there. She said, Dad, you make it sound so simple. I said, honey, I didn't say it might sound simple, but I didn't say it was easy, because that kind of discipline is tough. It's painful. But if you'll follow that formula, you'll get to where you want to go. So I was hoping that she would accept some level of pain. She would accept the formula. And as a result, 4 years later or 5 years later, she was Kelly Vasquez, BSRN. And Mike turned out to be a brigadier commander in Cleveland, Ohio, the highest level you can be in the fire department. He was a fireman.
I liked how the journey, even in your book, it's a short part of a chapter, but the discovery on that journey.
Yes.
I think you're kind of learning about yourself, learning about the advice you're giving to your daughter.
Yes.
Really
And that's
impactful.
it was consistent with the argument that I have about more poetry, less chaos. The better choices you make, the better the outcome. But you have to make the right choices, which requires discipline, which requires that gift of pain, because you become a better person, character, etc. So it's a consistent message. And there's a short poem that she and I share, and I wrote for her to illustrate that message, that day, those hours together.
I think I may have marked that.
Yes.
Keep seeing the objective.
Yes.
Would you read that?
Oh, certainly.
For us?
Certainly. This is to my daughter Kelly. Keep seeing the objective, crystallize the view, the progress, the goal, the benefits for you. Focus on the process, the evolution of things, understanding the journey, the character it brings. Congratulations this day on what you've become. Another level mastered, another begun. Keep seeing the future as you want it to be. And remember the slogan between you and me. It's simple, not easy. Dad, June 15th, 1981, for graduation day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. So Andy and I started this place because we wanted coffee and looking at the lake, but for us it was the other deeper thing. The thing that coffee means to us is good conversation.
There you go.
And connection. And
Yes.
in fact, on the back of the staff's t-shirts it says, "Come connect," because we want to promote that. We want to be more of that space in 2025.
Yeah.
The sandwiches, the coffee, the ambiance is a backdrop for a good connection. And so thank you for coming and talking to me
Oh,
today.
thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure, and thank you for providing this environment in our community, a little light on the Delta. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you're